Good morning, Nicholas.
Good morning, Michael. So this is day 3, I believe, of working on the car. What's the objective for today?
Motor.
Motor out.
Yeah, motor out.
Motor out. You can have both motors, that one there, side by side, and then we can assess the damage on this motor. Because we been enlightened to the fact of the broken cam gear, and the fact that there's no other damage to the front of the car suggests that the motor's seized and that the timing belt snapped the cam gear. So it might be absolutely destroyed inside. So anyways, we'll have a look at that and go from there, just taking all the bits and pieces off. Should be fun. It's going to be an absolute scorcher today as well. Picked a good day for it.
Nice and hot.
Yep, good. That's how we like it. Right, first step would be to radiator off, get as many accessories as we can off, and then go for the big ticket items like gearbox and rusty exhaust or turbo and dump pipe and all that bullshit. So first step, what have we got here? A 12mm for the intercooler.
Put that Samco one on.
Co Extreme, yeah, from fucking old mate. Jeez, those hoses a bit. How's it going? It's pretty fucking brittle, but I mean, we'll assess the damage after, I guess. Cunt.
So we're just waiting for Nick to stab himself.
It's gonna happen, guys.
Towards yourself with your hands in the way trick. Jesus.
And that just snapped off the fucking. There you go, guys. Don't do it that way. That hose is fucking that brittle. That should be rubber, and it's snapped off the intake pipe.
Right.
So, first fuck up of the day.
Nice one.
Yep. Hopefully the GC box got something similar. Radiator, power steering. Next step. Is this going to go over it? There's a little bit in there, but we'll drain the bottom just to make life a bit easier. Trying to get this bottom hose off, this radiator.
So Nick's already broken something today.
I've already broken one thing today on the first thing I've done.
So that's coming out of his budget, not mine.
This is the budget together, mate. Here we go.
Oh yeah.
Just like that. Power steering lines. Better off just disconnecting the lines off the side of the block. Do that versus 10mm bolt on the side of the block, which is here next to the coolant reservoir. Right there. So there's one 10mm there, and there's another 10mm here on the other side of the reservoir. It holds down like a little clip, which of course is in a super shit spot, so that's going to be an extension bit job, but they are both 10mm, so it's going to make life a bit easier. One of the greatest tools ever invented. There's the 10mm. Took it out a little bit on the piss, but ringing for the other one.
What are you doing there, Nick?
Just pop the top of the box off to get to that bolt.
Yep.
Piss that line off out of the way a little bit, and then obviously always put your screws back in the screw holes, and that way you don't lose them. And then when you see them, you remember that there was something that was supposed to go there. So that one goes back in. Take the sensor off, just like that.
Beautiful.
And the other bolt. Oh, it's in a shit spot. Cool. 12mm bolt for the header tanker. 1, 2.
You've been training in the gym?
No, mate.
Doesn't look like it.
No. All right. So that's basically header tank moved enough to get the lines out, which is what we wanted to achieve. So we can, like we always do, bang those bolts. Where did it come from? From
just
here.
there, yeah. So that just snapped off. So it's vacuum hose.
Brittle vacuum hose. So bad for leaks. Good for holding pressure though, but terrible for leaks.
What is these?
Yeah, just get some waters and V's. Thanks, mate. Anyways, now that Michael's gone, we can do some real filming and some real work. So the banjo bolt, which is for the power steering line, which goes into there, which is a 14mm. Just pop that out, and so that's given us all this wiggle room here. So you can see the 2 power steering lines there and there that were attached to the side of the block, and now loose. The other side's still going into the reservoir there. Anyways, yeah, so those lines out of the way. So the next step is heat shield to come off. There's a couple of 10mm bolts hanging all over it. There we go, just. There you go. You've discovered the low sugar Gatorade. And an extra large V. Mate, what the fuck? What are you planning today, mate? I don't know what it is, but I don't want any involvement in it. And of course the last bolt is right here on the side of the turbo. So it's a bit of a shit spot. You just got to sort of get your arm in there and go at it. Okay, and it should just shield should just. We're gonna have to take off the intercooler bracket. So now that the bracket's out of the way.
Bit of persuasion.
Just got a bit of a smooth operator. Now the next fun stuff is going to be getting these rusty turbo flange bolts off.
Let's get some WD on it now.
Yeah, let it sit. We can enjoy the V's and
Yep.
V time. The sponsors from V. Oh goodness. Oh wow. There's so many sharp things here. Oh goodness.
You're driving a forklift.
Exactly what. I'm about to fucking launch this fucking thing.
What is it, the bracket? Yeah.
Fucking piece off, would ya? Okay, it's super rusty. Oh, it's generated some heat. It's hot. Oh, just made it. I was gonna say it's not gonna. Look how fucking rusty it is. Ooh. So that's one of them, and there's 4 more to go. So.
Hey Nick, what are you doing down there, mate?
Okay, gents. Just taking off.
What about ladies? What if some ladies are watching?
Oh, well, ladies, yeah, they're our followers.
Ladies and gents.
Ladies and gents. The steering knuckle to get to the last turbo bolt there. It's in the pain in the ass. So there's 2 12mm bolts that hold the steering knuckle assembly together on the spline shafts of both the rack and the steering column. So there's 10mm, and what should happen is it should just, in theory, after you've taken the bolts off, just slide up and down, which of course it's not going to, so probably just needs a bit of persuasion with the ye old mallet, and then we'll pop that off and we'll get the last bolt off.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So, 4 hours later,
yep.
We've they hit you?
No,
like
close.
We've gotten all the turbo bolts off.
Yep, that bottom one is an absolute cunt, like we found out. Yep. There you go, guys. So it's actually taken the stud out of the turbo itself, and then we'll just disconnect the dump from the other part of the exhaust down here, which is just 2 other 14mm bolts, which hopefully aren't thrashed as well. Yeah. There's 1 more bolt just on this side here that goes into the gearbox just to hold it steady where the cat is. So that's the only other bolt, and then it should just pop out.
Alright, last bracket. All that Nick's getting now.
Getting there. We have to take a little bit more of the exhaust off. Okay, should be able to.
And so the exhaust fell on him.
Yep.
It's caught it.
Caught it. Didn't break it.
Good catch.
Oh, God. Oh.
It's a well-deserved break right now, mate.
Yeah. Girly. Dump pipe, which is there. So that's come off the turbo. Need to get the gearbox bolts off. An AC compressor, Michael. We're going to try and take the fucking compressor wheel off so we don't have to degas it and regas it. That's going to be a fucking cunt in itself.
The G-Dog knows the way to do it.
And the G-Dog knows. Well, maybe we should get the fucking G-Dog down here. I think he's fucking stitched us up. We'll get him back. Heater core hoses, pop them off, and then just sort of wiring looms that go into the block, pop them out and all that bullshit. So, but let's get something to eat first. I'm fucking hungry.
Let's do it.
Good. Once again, we find ourselves at the foodery. I feel like we should start doing reviews of places that we eat at, doing just burgers only when we're going for lunch. Anyways, yeah, you know you're in Summer Hill. Oh mate, yeah, you're not far off, mate.
Not far off. Alright, well, if it was one task that we've completed today, it was smashing all that food. If only we were as good as eaters as we were engine pullers. Now let's actually take the gearbox bolts out. To get the gearbox off, we need to take the bolts off that go through the starter motor. So we'll get that off, and then we'll get that pin out, and then we can disconnect the clutch and the flywheel, so we can separate the motor from the box. Okay, so one bolt out. Nemo's got the other bolt out, and should just delicately take that starter motor out without dropping it on me.
Just get out.
There we go. That's the Casper. There you have it, my friends. Starter motor off, and then we've got access to that there. Ladies and gentlemen, you can see in Michael's hands there, you've got two different size bolts that came off the starter motor. A longer one goes on the top here, and the bottom one, and the shorter one goes on the bottom. Reason being, and I know this from experience, is if you put the long one in this hole here, it will go all the way through the block and into the coolant channel. So yeah, long one at the top, short one down the bottom. Don't mix it up. Good. Okay, so we got 10mm hex. You go into there. There you go, just need to fucking crack it. Okay. Let's thread out. So you guys can see inside there, a screw or a bolt in there, it'll catch the threads that's in there, and you'll be able to slide that out. So that's what we'll do now. Sorry mate, Michael's done the impossible here. He's given me the correct bolt size. So this fits exactly into that thread, which we will insert now. Twist in. Oh mate, it's even the same pitch and everything. Good on you, Michael. Now, I'm gonna need your Hercules-like strength to, are you able to grab that bolt and just sort of pull it out, and it should slide the whole pin out. Archimedes himself is here, and by doing that, you can get that pin straight out.
Oh, Nick.
Nicely greased as well. The rest of that should pop out with no real drama. There you go. And then we can do the rest of the gearbox bolts. Oh, tell me that shaft's in the way. That should be right. Okay, and as expected, the all these gearbox bolts came out all right. Yeah, that one there. There's another one there, and there's a couple at the top there. But there's also one. It's actually a gearbox nut that sits on a stud right there, and the CV's blocking. Okay, so managed to get the
Definitely didn't need to pop the CV.
yeah, probably could have got away with with leaving the CV there and just getting a regular ratchet down there with a short 14mm bit on there and just sort of loosening that bolt up. There it goes, nice and easy. The next step is going to be to do the engine mounts. So that's one there. It's also a 14mm, and there's one there. So that'll be next off. Should go pretty easy. I'm not going to be able to do that one-handed, so you're just going to have to wait and see. Okay, so made short work of that. Short work of that. The heater hose is out of the way. It's one. So one that goes into the block here, and then there's the other one down there where Michael's fiddling around. Some pry action. Get Archimedes involved. Yep. There we go. Like that. Okay, so the motor moves pretty freely from the box, as you can probably see from just doing this. So it shouldn't be too much of a problem once all the little bits and pieces are off. So a bit of common sense here. So whatever's attached from the motor to the chassis, that's going to stop it from getting pulled out. We'll take out, throttle cables and all that shit. Fuel line out, bolt installed. Ooh, hey, magic tricks. Don't want an engine bay fire, not today. And also, it's probably worth marking with a bit of tape that's the top, middle, and bottom. T for top. Yeah, top. That's plenty, mate. I think we'll get it. All three hoses out. And next can be off there, Michael.
Reckon?
Yeah, it's a brake booster vacuum line. Stuff. Next is just the throttle cable. So you loosen that enough until it gets off the thread. Pull that back and it should just slip out. And just like a little safety shim, which I've never seen. And then you should just be able to pull that like that and navigate it. Come on, focus camera. And then that should pop out, and it's got a little anchor like that. Yeah, nice throttle cable out. And the other one is, I was gonna say the other one's the cruise control, but I've taken the cruise control off. That's the fucking throttle. So, and probably just best to leave that bolt where it is, just for reference. Don't have to worry about it. So all the way, and then out. Like we normally do. This one doesn't have a shim, which is what I thought it was gonna look like. Pop that out. Take the anchor out. Very simple throttle cables, so much better than drive-by-wire. That New World Order shit, I'm not into that. Like cable-driven stuff with butterfly valves and no servo motors. Yeah, buddy. Right. AC, do we want to call the G-Dog up and just... Unless... surely it's just pulling out the compressor.
Yeah, the compressor, yeah.
Righto, alright, let's pull it out. Yeah, belt needs to come off as well. Tensioner there. Just loosen that bad boy there, and the belt should just pop off. Might as well do that now while I get the chance. Fixed. There's this bolt here as well. There, one. Yep.
No, I'm slipping off it.
Alright, plan B. No?
No room.
Okay. Plan C. Oh, taking skin off?
Nah.
Fucking hurt, man. It fucking hurt. Don't smash your elbows and stuff, guys.
He's just undone that, smacked his elbow.
Right on that.
I just caught the camera too slow. It was a real funny moment.
Oh, we need a full-time cameraman just for this shit.
So anyone out there who wants a full-time gig?
There's beers in it for you. That bolt off too there. That goes in between the alternator and the AC compressor. It's so satisfying hearing that. The impact drive is just there, mate. Yeah, it was literally there. All right, zero. Get the pry bar on it. Okay, so we've popped off. I can't see anything from the sun. Popped off the alternator, which is held in by just that bolt that sort of runs along here, and then popped off this bolt here and this bolt here that Nemo's getting off as well. And hopefully that's going to free up the whole bracket that holds the compressor down without having to discharge anything. Oh, not looking so good. We'll find out. Okay, so it sort of worked. Managed to break that bracket there, which is hidden under the intake manifold. So for everyone else, I don't think there's any way of getting the compressor off ungassed without taking basically the whole motor apart. So you can forget doing that. Just pay the fucking $80 and get it regassed. But it's out now. You live and you learn. Might have to do some aluminium welding to get that. Fucking Nemo talking to...
mate.
Oh, there's the G-Dog. There's his... Put a shirt on, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's only AC. Yeah. Oh, we'll see what happens.
Guess what the later engines have got? 3 bolts.
Oh, really? There you go.
Subaru.
Geniuses. Oh.
Well.
Just put that in there to piss you off.
Yeah.
Oh, well, fucking did its job.
Alright, so we're in discussions about removing the bonnet completely or just sort of propping it up, sort of real bodgily, just to get the engine crane in and make life a bit easier. So we've got the compressor out to the side, alternator also hanging out to the side, disconnected a few cables, disconnected the wire harnesses that were on the side there, power steering return hose gone, the power steering hard lines that go to the rack off the side of the block, header tank off, headers off, all that shit off. So I think the next step is going to be getting the engine crane onto this and lifting the motor out and then fucking being a bit happy. Yeah, I think it's just to strongman it out. This should be alright. Hopefully the strap doesn't shear, and the intake manifold takes the weight. I'm hoping. So anyway, I'll station this camera up somewhere and then have a sweet time lapse. For a bit of fun there. Absolute fucking bitch and a half. Absolute cunt. Should have taken the radiator out. Yeah. Should have taken all the accessories off the top of the motor. Should have degreased and gurneyed the fuck out of it more. Absolutely filthy. Have a look at the amount of... Look at that. Yeah. Here at Mighty Car Wogs, we don't sell out. We're true to the cause of rebuilding WRXs.